Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games in the Game Pass collection, bringing you 3 unique perspectives from varying skill range. I am the Odin of this episode. With me, our Ratatasker, Keith.
Hello.
And our beautiful Freya, Liz.
Hey, guys.
And this week, we played a listener request. We did Valheim by Iron Gate Studios. Or Iron Gate. I don't even think they call themselves studio. But Valheim is a third-person action survival RPG, which, you know, we've covered many of these types of styles of games. And also, just a disclosure, this game is in game preview, so it is not a finished work. It is still obviously a work in progress. We are playing on patch 0.26, I believe it's called, but specifically it's the Mistlands update. So just to give you an update of to where we are playing this game. But yeah, this might be a game we end up visiting again later. But our listener, Pizza Dude, who also recommended that we play Ark, recommended that we play this game and, you know, suggested that maybe we pick this game up later when it gets out of game preview. So thank you so much for the game suggestion, because getting right into it, Valheim is a definite game for me. I had so much fun with Valheim. Like I said, we've already covered a lot of these survival builder type-esque games. You know, we've done Ark, we've done Grounded, but there's so much that Valheim does right. And, you know, I'm going to get into it as to what makes this game different, but I had so much fun with Valheim. Yeah, this is a definite game for me.
Well, I guess if you want me to go,
Either one of you.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll do it as we'll do the sandwich like we usually do. So this one's kind of unique for me in this aspect, in that it is a pass in its current state, but I actually do want to revisit it when it comes out of preview, because I see the framework of an actual survival game that I might enjoy, but I'm struggling with certain aspects of it, I guess, that make it tough for me to call it a true game for me right now.
I'm very surprised, because I have some questions for you, Keith. Go ahead, Liz.
It's definitely a game for me. Because like last week we did Mass Effect 2, and I thought that I was going to finish it, but this has actually been keeping my attention, so I haven't gone back and finished Mass Effect 2 because of this game. So it's definitely a game for me.
Man. All right. I feel like this could be a juicy episode. Because Keith was the lone person standing last week with Mass Effect 2, and now I guess he is with Valheim.
So I guess I'm going to be a bad take guy from now on. I don't know.
I'm just glad that I'm not the one giving all the passes still, because I had quite a streak going.
But getting to the story of Valheim, you are a unnamed Norse warrior who has recently perished, and you're being carried by the Valkyries, unfortunately not to Valhalla, but into essentially what is the Norse mythology of Purgatory, which is Valheim, which is this 10th world where Odin has banished these great evils into this realm, and he thought they were asleep, but they just recently started to stir. So Odin has needed some of the best warriors from Middle-earth, or Midgard, not Middle-earth. That's Lord of the Rings. But here you are, you're recently deceased, you're carried in by a Valkyrie into Valheim, and you are trying to build a fortress, get geared, and fight the bosses that have grown and woken up. But going around, did any of you guys catch this story? I mean, the game, I feel like you guys can't say no, because the game literally kind of gives you a text at the beginning.
But I forgot about it, though, to be honest, because you're revisiting, like, and I was like, oh yeah, that is the story. I do remember that. So, guys, you put so many hours into it, and you're not really getting trickled more story. I feel like you're finding the stones.
A little bit, yeah. You find these stones that kind of give you. Honestly, I always found it to be nonsensical of like these story elements.
And you have the bird helping you, but there's no real like characters and stuff, so.
Yeah, well, so they're weird little like poems almost as you go through, but like, and I can't say I've ever read what is it, like the Odyssey or whatever, but it's like that's
no, the Odyssey is Greek.
Oh shoot. Well, either way, it's like, but it's all like poems though, and it's like mythology and all that. So it's I making the comparison in that aspect if they're just these short little like stories, but they don't really, like you said, they don't tell a full message story, but they're supposed to be telling a bigger one. I don't know. It's they're a neat aspect, but nothing that said, boy, here's a ton of lore and all of that. But yeah, I thought that was like kind of a cool setup to the game, and I go back to a really cool framework for what this world is and what you're doing here.
Yeah.
But as you know, I'm generally a fan of like these mythology type of games and things like that. And while it's there on the surface, and it's a game preview, so that's why I stand by, sure, it's a pass for me right now, but I look forward to it coming out of game preview and seeing where it goes to. Because it kind of stops right then and there. And yeah, you, other than some characters, or I don't know, the enemies you fight, I guess, are from mythology, but that's about the extent of it. So
later on there are some interactable NPCs. I will say that.
Okay.
I know with the Mistlands update, they added more of, I can't remember the person, but they actually added an NPC that can like populate your town or your house or whatever, and like kind of give you a quest line.
Did you find them?
No, we haven't got to them, but there is, I will say, more interactable NPCs in this game that you then probably honestly of the other arcade builders we've been with, because Grounded had very little NPCs you can interact with, and Ark, I don't remember interacting with any of them. Oh no, you did if you played the DLC, but I enjoyed, like, you don't need too much of the story, as you guys kind of said. Like, you know, I thought the beginning was a good enough context of, this is a Viking mythology. You are essentially in Viking purgatory. And here you go. Like, that's kind of set you off on the path. Like, that to me was enough of a story to be like, all right, let's keep going. I don't need this constant, like, oh, you defeated this enemy and Odin is happy with you and blah, blah, blah. Like, it was a nice means to an end of, hey, some bad guys are, you know, getting too strong in purgatory. You need to stop them. All right, cool.
For the amount of times that we play a roguelike and I'm like, oh, it doesn't really matter, the story's not there. It's got a means to an end, and it's all it is. And oh no, it should have more of this and it should have more of that. And here you are, well, it just needs means to an end. No, I think you're right that it sets it up fine as it stands, but we're talking about a deep mythology, and there's none of it. And most any
Oh, so you're upset that there's not more.
Did you not listen to what I said earlier?
I did not.
I said that I love mythology in games. And
yeah, that's right. Okay, I did hear that.
The fact that it scrapes the surface and then just leaves it all out, especially because in video games and movies and all of these things, like, people tell their own stories with it. So there's not even any twist on it. Like, why does Odin want you to kill these guys? Why are they bad? What have they done to get themselves exiled there? And I feel like that will all come out outside of game preview. But not having any of that, it was just, here's a little riddle to try to figure out what you need to do. And then I think you just get there and then it tells you what you need to do and you fight them. And that's fine. But I want more of the mythology. I want more of all of that cool storylines that exist.
This is so weird that it's like we switched, Keith.
I know.
Because I'm given games. I am like, I don't really care if it has a story, and you want a story, and you're giving things passes, and you're getting sassy with Andrew, and I love it.
You can look back at any game that involved any bit of mythology, and if there was a lot of it, I was probably into it. If it didn't do a good job
I agree.
So
I'm just saying, like, I don't care about.
You were the one who figured out it was like Turkish or Hungarian.
Hungarian, yeah, and I ended up diving deep into that, and because it was fascinating, and I loved the tie-ins around the gameplay and the story and all of those things. So that's not having that in a game built on Norse mythology is a huge miss to me.
I understand what you're saying. Like, I agree with your perspective. I just, for some reason, this style of game, I don't care if there is a story.
Really?
So, yeah, I didn't really care. And in fact, I kind of like that there isn't. That being said, I mean, I might change my mind if they put story in there, 'cause I might find it really interesting. But as it is, like, this style of game, I mean, I just love the building and the collecting of resources. And so for me, it's like whenever that bird comes along and you have to talk to him, just like, listen, I get it. You have to help me, but You're not much of a help anyway. It's not really a tutorial.
Which I want to ask you, Keith. How did you pronounce the bird's name?
Huggin.
I did
With a
too.
deep southern accent, of course, too. Huggin. I'm sorry to everyone from the south. I'm not being
I knew that it was wrong when I said it, but it just like...
I mean, it's Huggin.
I thought it was Hugin.
Maybe I pronounced it Hugin.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is. Or
Yeah, because I think it's one G. I think that's why
There's
you were
two
like,
Gs.
yeah, because you
Probably a
corrected
silent
me, and
G.
I was just like, I like it.
It's like Huin.
But I like Liz, when I was playing with Liz, she's like, oh, it's Huggin.
Yeah,
Just
because I
make you
wanted to
laugh.
give him a hugging every time I saw him.
But that's a good question, though, of transition of how do you think this game worked for newcomers? So as Keith kind of obviously mentioned here, as soon as you start the game, there's this bird that is essentially is the tutorial or the guide, whose name is either Hugin or Huggin, because we can't quite figure it out. But he essentially tells you, like, hey, you need to do this thing, you need to do this thing. So it's like it's not super hand-holdy, but it gives you a good direction. How did you guys feel this game was for newcomers?
I think if I didn't play with you, I would have been frustrated with figuring out how to upgrade like the workbench and stuff. I think I would have had to Google a lot more. And also the building, like I went into it like not really thinking. Andrew like gave me some tips and tricks.
Tips and trips.
But but I did actually struggle a little bit with that, which I was surprised. Like there's just some things that just are a little finicky. And yeah, so I definitely think playing multiplayer was a big help for me. So I wouldn't say it's the most noob-friendly game in this genre, but I mean, I don't think it was like crazy difficult to piece together.
Well, so I went completely solo for this. And I don't know, I think like most of this style of game, I probably would have preferred to have gotten some multiplayer time and probably playing with you, Andrew, because that's how I tend to get better. I kind of figure out what you're doing and you figure
I
these
make
games
you
out.
Better.
These style of games, at least most of the other ones, I don't really care what you're doing, but I know that you're good at these, and so I try to like keep up and do what you're doing. But so from that standpoint of trying to do it solely by myself, I found it to be not as much as I wanted. Like I as you know, I don't want something to be, here's how you walk, here's how you look up and down. And some games do that. And I hate that level of it. But I mean, it can be fine, but I don't care for that. But I also was sitting there going, wait, what am I missing? I think it was like 2 hours into the game before I finally figured out I could start picking dandelions, and I don't even know if I ever figured out how to build anything with them, or I just, little things like that I didn't pick up on, and I didn't think it gave me a good attention to, is where I struggled the most with the gameplay and sort of the, I guess, tutorial or really more or less lack thereof, because I'd be hugging over there. He gives you, I don't know, little tidbits, but it doesn't really tell you a lot. You sort of just have to dig around.
Well, I also think too that it's kind of noob friendly in that, like, for instance, the food doesn't expire, at least like with the way that it is now. So you can put cooked food in your chest, raw food. So there are little things like that where you really don't have to worry too much about survival. I mean, there's always berries around. If I can, kill the animals, like anybody can. So it's pretty easy in that respect. And also, like, the enemies, especially around your base at first, aren't too crazy. I think it's interesting playing multiplayer, though. We did the first, what's it called?
The first boss.
Yeah, the first boss together. And then I went back to my game and I got a trophy too. So I could put it on the stone, but I didn't have to redo the event. And I feel like Andrew's game, when the enemies attack your base, it was way harder. And I don't know if it's because like I didn't do that in my game. I noticed that there was like a difference with that. So I think it's interesting going back and forth between playing single and multiplayer.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be an interesting episode. How far did you guys get?
We are on the second boss, but we never fought him. The Elder is who we're supposed to be fighting. We're ready, but like we're so distracted that we literally haven't gone to
Yeah,
fight
like
him.
upgrading things, and like I needed a bigger house. We
Yeah,
wanted
we're
to
fully geared and we're ready to
yeah.
fight him.
We wanted to make a boat and go sailing, and you know.
Well, so here's part of why I'm asking you, and we'll start to, I think, uncover a little bit more. So this might just be a little preview question. So I'm probably, I don't want to say right behind you, but I've beaten the first boss,
Oh, nice. Good job, Keith. By yourself? Good job.
and I haven't gotten anywhere close to fighting the second boss. That's why I would say I'm not really right behind you. But how many hours would you say you guys have played of the game?
Oh, man. At least 20 hours.
How
I don't
many?
know.
So you're probably what, like 30 some odd days in? At
Yeah,
least?
yeah. In my personal game, I'm at day 36.
I thought I was
personal
half
game-
that.
Yeah, Liz's personal game, I think, is
So
at 20.
I've played at least half of what Andrew is. Why are you laughing?
Yeah, what are you at, Keith? Oh, my gosh. Why are you laughing?
Because I think I'm at like 5.5 hours, and I maybe hit day 13.
Okay. Wow. Actually, that's very impressive, Keith.
Well, but so there's so much more to get to, but I just want to start with that, and then we'll carry on from there.
All right. So I want to say, as far as like the other builder games we've gone through, I personally feel like this game is the most noob friendly because I did have a Wikipedia up and I was looking some stuff up, but I did feel like this game for the most part was really drip feeding you on like what you're supposed to be doing and how you're collecting things. Like there's a good amount of resources you're collecting in this game, but as soon as you pick up something and like you know all the ingredients of a specific recipe, your character instantly learns it. So there's like your crafting will get better and you get better weapons if you can discover all the resources for a particular item. So to me, I felt like this game had a nice drip feed. I felt like the very beginning could maybe be improved.
I was
going to
say that because you were frustrated with not being able to upgrade and then you figured it out. So
Yeah.
I think that because you are so good at gaming and the fact that you even struggled a little bit at the beginning, I definitely think that's like a little...
Yeah, particularly the item flint. So when you start the game, you're in an area called the Meadows. And flint is a little rock that is only along the water in the meadows. And I wish the game directed you towards that because both me and Liz fought the first boss literally in rags and with clubs. Like we literally had like starting equipment when we were fighting the boss because we never discovered flint and we didn't know anything about it. And so like me and Liz hit this wall. We were like, well, the bird tells you like, oh, bring your best gear. You're about to fight a boss. And so me and Liz were like, well, this is our best gear because we never just found flint. So we fought that deer and we each died like 10 times. We literally brought the deer close to our base so we could keep spawning. And literally we just threw bodies at the deer. We literally just kept going and dying and repeating and just kept going in. So that's why I'm impressed you did it, Keith.
So this is where we don't diverge very far. What's interesting, though, and kind of funny, I think it was probably more of a sheer luck. This isn't like, oh, boy, I'm smarter than you, Andrew. I actually got you on this. I happened to find flint at one point, and so because I found it, it was like, hey, you can build a flint axe. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do that because that sounds like it's going to be better than what I have. So I had a flint axe. Honestly, though, the club is really strong. So I used the club actually quite a bit on...
I barely used the club. I always used axe.
My club was almost I think the same level as my axe, and so I dealt quite a bit of clubbing damage, but
you went straight clubbing.
Yeah, I was clubbing all the time. But I will say, I kind of did the same thing, and so this is where going back, I'm gonna reference my state of pass right now, and where I think it's more a state of the game issue than it is what the overall gameplay is intended to be and will be, because that drove me nuts. I didn't accidentally start the boss. I absolutely was like, okay, I'm gonna try this. I think this is the best I can do. I went into it and I did what you did, as I just threw my body at it constantly. Well, that was after I ran around for about 35 minutes, like Dark Souls style, trying to like dip, dodge, duck, and dive away from this thing, take a couple hits. Like 40 minutes into it, I just said, screw it, I'm done. And then I realized I could just keep dying. And so I was like, okay, well, this is easy now. So there's that. But what really drove me nuts is in a game like this, if you're going to be fighting bosses that epic, then it needs to be you fight it. And if you die, that's it. And not like forever, but you have to restart it every time. Because otherwise, especially in this survival style of game, there's no running away from this thing. I couldn't just be like, okay, I'm clearly not strong enough now, I'm gonna run away, because it chases you infinitely, which I think is a issue of the current coding on the enemies, because every enemy does it. And it was one of my biggest gripes, is I would accidentally take a wrong turn into some corner of a forest and find some troll that just followed me until I died. And so, and then he'd be too close to where I needed him to be, and it was just a whole thing. And so that was one of my biggest overall gameplay issues, that I'm like, I didn't have fun a lot of times, because I was just constantly running from annoying things, I felt like.
I agree. And it's where we are now, even with like, so everything that you do, you accrue more points to it. So like your running gets better. But even with that, like you can't really outrun enemies, like you said, even where we are now. They just keep following you. I mean, you can, but like, not really. Like I was followed for a very long time.
Like maybe
you don't get faster, but you have more stamina.
Yeah,
right,
you have more stamina.
But they never stop chasing you. That's what I'm saying, is you can...
They will. You have to break their line of sight, which is difficult.
It's real hard in the meadows.
Yes, I do agree. It is hard to, in the meadows, it's like a flat plane. So obviously it's hard to break line of sight. But you can outrun enemies and break their line of sight, and they'll lose aggro and go back home.
I mean, yes, maybe, but then they're like by your body, and then because they don't roam back to where they started either. Like in most games, even if they're gonna follow you, they're gonna kite back home once they kill you. These enemies don't. So you go back for your body, and oh well, I'm right back in this fight again. So you either leave your stuff there, or you hope you can get out after you get it.
Yeah, that's one thing that happened to me. Like at the beginning, when I still had basic everything, I was harvesting some copper, but I did it in the middle, so I immediately fell down, and a skeleton jumped down with me. And then so there was no way for me to...
I kind of want to pause you there. I loved that this happened to you. You started your game by yourself solo, and you cracked a rock directly in the center, so it literally was a pit that you were stuck in. And you're like, Andrew, I can't get my body. And you literally had enemies stuck in this hole where your body was.
So I couldn't get it, and I wasn't close enough to it that I could get the stuff. Yeah, and then I need you to join my game to help me.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. It was a very funny story.
I thought when we defeated the first boss that you were disappointed with the rewards. Am I remembering correctly?
No, because like that's kind of what I'm saying. Of like, I thought the transition was really good with this game. Once you defeat the first boss, is when the game's like, oh, now you can mine and now you can alter the terrain, which is a really cool feature. Like this is one thing. Like I said, Valheim does a lot of things correct. In this game, lets you alter terrain in a really cool, unique way. Like you can use a pickaxe to literally just strike the ground that you're standing on and form the land. But then eventually you get a hoe. And the hoe, you can either raise dirt or you can level out the plane to make it more even. I loved the kind of like form manipulation.
Well, because the building is like it's a little janky if there's a hill.
It's janky at first. Once you kind of figure out what the game's
But what I
trying to
mean
do,
is if because I started my house on a hill.
Yeah,
and
you did not pick a good starting location.
But I mean, I was excited to get started.
Yeah.
But when you do that, like sometimes the wood will not line up if it's too far of a divot. So you need that if you are doing it on a hill.
Your location is great. Its actual like positioning is awful.
Yes.
Yeah. The building was another thing that I, again, currently don't think is in a really good state personally. And the biggest reason I just don't think it has a good like snap to it as far as like builder games go. You know how you know this, Andrew, I guess, and if I'm using the wrong terminology, I guess please correct me. But when you're trying to build walls, just I don't know, the ability to build them in a straight line so they connect and line up, it was very tricky. And there's like an alternate placement thing that you can turn on and off. And
magnetism you can turn it on and off.
Well, they call it alternate placement, I believe. But yeah, I had that on and I still was just really struggling. And then where it's kind of a cool gameplay aspect, but when I'm already struggling to build, the fact that I had to have the workshop covered to be able to use it just annoyed me because I couldn't just build it and use it. I'm like, okay, now I have to build a whole structure around it and do all of these things. But what I did like, and I, instead of building my own structures, I took advantage of one of the cool features that the game has, and it has these like half-built, half-broken structures.
Yeah,
and
abandoned structures.
Yeah, so I just built bases out of those. So I would, kind of set those up as my starting terrain and then just start to build off of them.
Yeah, I did that once. Yeah.
One thing that I want to piggyback off of what you said, Keith, is that like when you're first starting out and you make a bed and it has to be covered, but it also has to be close enough to the fire, and it's just like at the very beginning, I'm just like, just let me sleep, you know? And
yeah, give me my first base basically for free.
Yeah.
I also think too with the building, I feel like I'm really enjoying it now. Like I really thought it was frustrating at the beginning, and I have definitely like adapted a little bit, and I'm figuring out like the best way to go about it. But seeing some of the YouTube videos of people building houses,
yes.
So it's like I said earlier, I'm like, oh, it's a little finicky, and it is. It's not the smoothest, but
well, this game originally was PC, so I think it's more based for PC.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I definitely see that like you really can do a lot, and it gets me excited. It's like because I'm playing Minecraft right now, and I'm looking at like videos online of like things people do in Minecraft, and just like I can't wait to do that for Valheim.
Well, yeah, as far as I can tell, I don't think there's a creative mode in Valheim.
No.
Did any of you guys see that? I don't think there is. I think it's just this game right now.
Yeah. Well, I was actually, you know what it needs to do, Liz, and I was thinking of this, is like we were talking about the tutorial. This is where I think the tutorial would be great, is a lot, and especially in survival type of games. It's going to go, like it's going to drop you off, and it's going to immediately be like, hey, you're tired. Here's what you need to do. You need to build a house. Then you need to build a bed. And it's going to basically give you that, like, where a lot of times it actually, like, snaps blocks where you're building it, if you will, or at the very least walks you through the steps of all of what you need to do and sets you up. This instead just lets you go, hey, like you said, Liz, you build a house, be like, great, now I can just put my character to sleep. No, you can't. You need the structure. You need this. You need that. And so, I don't know. That could be part of the tutorial, I think.
So I want to stop you for a second, quick, because this is something that I think Valheim does so incredibly well. I see where you're coming from, Keith, but this is what I love about with Valheim. It's not necessary. Like any other survival game we've played, Minecraft, Grounded, Ark, when it comes to nighttime and if you do not have a structure built, you're just screwed. Like enemies are swarming at you, like your character isn't like properly, like doesn't have sleep, your character's hungry, your character's thirsty, like all these different things. In Valheim, it doesn't matter because all these things that you're doing are just buffs. They're not something that's like, oh, your character is going to die because you didn't sleep. Your character is going to die because he's hungry or he's thirsty. Everything is just a buff or a debuff. So when it came to nighttime, this is the first survival game I felt like I could play during nighttime. Grounded was way too dark. Ark was way too dark. And like it's just like in Minecraft, there's so many enemies that I'm constantly being attacked by zombies or creepers or skeletons. In Valheim, it just felt like, no, you can just keep playing. It's just, it's a little harder to see, and you're not getting the buff of rested. So that's what I think I loved about Valheim.
Well, no, I'm not complaining about the nighttime as a whole, that like you needed to sleep. Because yeah, you're right. It was just a buff, and it wasn't a full-on survival mechanic. I'm just saying, as far as like the ability to like kind of just teach you how the building structure works in this game, that it has. Like the idea that it has these not weird mechanics, but mechanics like that. Like, hey, things
have
have to
rules.
Be. Yeah, there you go, rules. Like it has rules about where things need to be placed and where their proximity is to other things, and so a better job of walking you through that process, I think, would be helpful.
Yeah, and I do agree with that because there is a lot of like little mechanics that are playing in this game that aren't quite explained to you. Like smoke. Smoke is a significant feature. You have a fireplace. And yeah, you could put it outside your house, which most people do, like I did, of like, I have a cooking pot, like why would I want that in my house? A wooden house, I don't want fire in my house. So I put it outside. But it's like, oh, you need a roof because, if it's raining, it puts out your fire, obviously. So then you got to put a roof on it. But then that roof is generating smoke. And if you have an opening in your house, you're generating smoke within your house, which can choke out your character. So there's like these really cool, interesting elemental mechanics to this game that isn't explained. And I do agree with you, Keith. I think it would have been nice to have some explanation of some of the rules that are going on.
I also think too, though, that some of the very basic rules that they gave me, I forgot. Like I remember when we beat the first boss, there's like that deer mode.
Oh
and
yeah,
you click
you
the
get
2-6 and
superpowers. Yeah,
yeah,
you forgot
and
about that.
I forgot and never used it until like just recently. But
Which is funny. Every time I was playing with you, I kept saying activate deer power. Did you just think I was just saying?
yes, or I thought like you had a special food that was giving you like a special deer meat or something, because the different foods give you different buffs. Like yeah,
So I literally kept saying this phrase, and Liz just thought nothing of it. So to explain, the very first boss you fight is a huge deer that shoots lightning. And when you kill it, you get what's called a forsaken power. And so every time you defeat a boss, you get some sort of, you can equip one of these powers. And so the first one significantly reduces stamina consumption when you run and jump. So when I knew we were traveling far, I would go, activate deer power. Liz apparently thought.
yeah. I mean, at first I thought you were just being silly, but I also think too, like what you said earlier, that this game does a lot of things great, and I agree with you. There's some things though that
Yeah,
I
you should
think
agree with
could
me.
fix. So one of the things that I agree the game does really great is I love when I am use my pickaxe and I can look around me without stopping using my pickaxe, because obviously enemies are sneaking up on you all the time, and I thought that was a really cool thing that they did. But there's a couple little nitpicky things that I do not like. I don't like that when you're building and crafting things like furniture that you can't just move it. You have to like disassemble it and rebuild it.
Yeah.
And something that Andrew, that you brought up, the chests need like an auto sort, and also like
Yes.
the chests need to be bigger.
If you're
I
doing a survival
haven't-
RPG, auto sort needs to be priority number one.
Yeah, we haven't been able to like upgrade our chests, and with carrying, you always like carry the same amount so far too. But like the chest specifically, it's like let me fit more in. Like it just like frustrates me. Like I need to also. Same with like the pickaxe. Like we're stuck at our level of pickaxe, and we really need to upgrade because we're constantly like running out of. We have to repair it and then go back. But those are just a couple of like nitpicky things that I just feel like it would make the game so much more fun, because like for me, like I'm like separating different chests, and I just think it would make it like, a smoother gameplay
Quality of
experience.
life is
Yes.
the phrase you're looking for.
How do you know that's the phrase I'm looking for?
That's
The way you're saying things. Is like,
quality
you're
of
looking
life
for
is
quality
the
of
phrase
life.
that Andrew's interpreting your words as.
I'm mansplaining. I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you, Andrew.
That's okay. That is what I said, but in different words. A smoother gameplay experience isn't a bad phrase.
Well, so I don't know, and it's funny, and I only used one chest, so it wasn't like, oh, this was the survival game that I turned it around and I was super organized and I had a bunch of things going on. But I don't know, I feel like having a bunch of chests is something you do in any of these. The lack of auto sort on the chests and or your own
No, a
inventory
lot of
was
them you upgrade the
awful.
chests, so you have bigger ones. I feel like most games that have chests, you eventually get like a bigger one.
I'm just thinking, even when you have those upgraded chests, like every time I jump in with Andrew, he's like, all right, this is one's armor, this one's weapons, this one's this. And even if it has 50 slots, it's still all organized into different things. So it's just a lot of chests anyways. So that part doesn't bother me. I need good inventory management is the biggest thing that I need. And like things you equip, like having armor, that needs to leave my inventory when I equip it. I don't like that staying in my inventory. That was a gripe.
Yep.
I have to say something about you saying that Andrew has had all these chests and like this one's for this, because when we were playing Grounded, I'm the one that made all those chests. I'm the one that organized everything.
Liz
And
is the one that
Andrew,
organized
no,
everything.
hold on. Andrew's always the one that puts
Yep.
things wherever he wants.
I will fully
So I
agree
would
with
go
that,
back and
yes.
he's like, well, we don't have any of this. And I'm like, yeah, we do.
Then
You
why
put it in
are
the
you
wrong
the one
chest and I put it back in the
complaining
right
about
one.
having a lot of
There's like a
chests?
symbol on it. Like a spider symbol or whatever. So when you saying like, oh, Andrew has these like chests sorted, I'm just like, I just don't believe it.
No, that's 100% Liz who organizes
Oh,
everything.
and I believe it. I'm just saying, in general, then I guess it makes less sense to me why you would have an issue with having to have all these different chests in Valheim. But I don't know. That's all I'm saying is that there's a lot of chests in all these other survival games. A lot of chests here is fine with me too.
Yeah, Liz is definitely the organized person of this relationship. Both of you are correct. Whenever I'm playing these games, I just throw stuff in. But yeah, like I do think it's surprising that this game does not have an auto sort button, because if you're doing a survival game, like I said, that should be priority number one. I just need to click left stick or something and just all my rock go in here, all my stone go in there, all my wood goes in there. Like it just makes it so much easier. Like, come on, Iron Gate, that needs to be your number one priority. You need to please add an auto sort button, because this game too, like there's numerous times where in my inventory, I'll have like a stack of wood that's like not at max capacity, but then it'll auto generate another stack of wood right next to it. And it's just like, just combine them for me, please.
Yeah, but sometimes it would combine. And also, why does all the wood look like the same kind of color and stuff?
Yeah.
And it's like you actually have to hover over it. It's just like, because there's a lot of times I'm like, I have wood on me. Like, why can't I build
it's
this?
like, oh no, this is fine wood, but then there's core wood.
But they're
and then there's
all like the
generic
same
wood.
color-ish.
Yeah. It's just like the wood is literally at a different angle every time.
I think what that is if you die and then you collect, say, 10 wood along the way to pick up your body, which had 20 wood on it, it's going to just pick up that 20 stack and not automatically
combine.
Yeah. So that's when that like divergence is happening in your inventory, and it's super easy, but that should also be part of the auto sort. I actually don't care if it wants to do it that way when I pick up my body, whatever. But if you have an auto sort button, it can auto combine things too.
Yeah, I know.
There's no
Why
reason to
don't
have
more
things
games do
in
it?
stacks other than full ones.
Why don't more games do auto sort? I feel like
That's a
it's
good
actually
question.
pretty rare. Like, is it really that hard?
The only thing
I
I
don't know.
can really think of is the difficulty in programming it, because it's
But
just
I feel like it could be that hard.
I mean, I obviously I have
We're not programmers. So
yeah, but I have seen enough coding and language things like that to kind of like you'd almost have to like basically like pull every item in the database and like sort it in it's like a whole big thing that they'd have to do. That I'm sure I know it's doable. Obviously, it's just I actually would bet that it's harder than it seems like. Is all I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, obviously it's not something you just like push a button. There you go. But
right,
but I wanted to ask you guys though, where does Valheim sit for difficulty for you guys? So Keith, you played completely solo. I played solo and co-op, and Liz majority of the time played co-op. Where do you think Valheim sticks with difficulty?
I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of just getting into the swing of things, and I feel like I'd really have to see what the second boss was like. Because the first one, like you said, we were completely unprepared. So I really don't know. I feel like I said, I'm getting into the swing of things. I'm starting to understand it, the building. I'm having fun. But I'm a little bit nervous about kind of how it's going to go after.
So, like from a completely solo standpoint, I kind of feel like it's a weird spot of difficulty. Is that largely the combat felt like it wasn't that difficult, except for the obvious major spike when you get to the boss there. And I don't think the game gives you enough runway to jump into a boss that big. So that's a sort of a pacing issue to the difficulty. But so I think that puts, I guess, like a weird spin on how I feel about it, because mostly fighting the boars and the, I don't know, the little fish frog things and goblins.
The Neckers.
Yeah.
That's what they're called, which is a weird name.
The what?
Neckers.
I think it's just necks.
No, I think they're the Neckers. Necker? I'm pretty sure they're Neckers.
I thought it was just necks. I could be very wrong.
Googling it.
You should, because anywho, yeah, like I was like fighting those individual enemies. I didn't think it was overly difficult.
Crap, you're right. They're necks.
Yeah. So like the only things that were difficult were, hey, like I said, I wandered into the Black Forest. I wandered into an area that was too difficult for me to be in and I shouldn't have been in. So I that's when I found it was too difficult, I guess.
For me, I think this game's difficulty is absolutely great. I think it fits. This is a kind of game I absolutely have no problem playing solo and co-op. So you can play up to 10-player co-op. So you could actually create a community server so anyone can just randomly jump into your game, or you can just do it for just friends so friends can jump in. But I had no issues playing solo. So this is one thing I forgot. I feel like we didn't really delve too much on. What makes Valheim so different from other survival builder games is this game focuses way more heavy on the RPG aspect, and I love it so much. So at the beginning of the game, you're creating a character. This character that you're creating is who you are bringing to different servers. So you're leveling up this character. So anything you're doing, jumping, running, swinging an axe, chopping down trees, you're specifically leveling up that thing as you are doing it, which I am a huge sucker for in RPGs. Because I always love when RPGs are like, oh, play as you want, do what you want. But it still pigeonholes you in kind of a build that you need to do. Like, yeah, here's some skill points, put them where you want. I love a game that if you're sneaking, all your sneaking is getting better. Are you jumping a lot? Your jumping's getting better. And that's what Valheim does. And that's what I loved, because you can play solo, get this character up for a level 30 wood chopping. Your friend just started. Cool. Let me bring my 30 wood chopping character over to your realm. I can chop down these trees super quick for you, and we can build up your fortress quicker. So any equipment that is on your character, anything that's in your inventory, is what is carrying around. So the game gives you a warning. Hey, be careful going to a community game, because there could be griefers. They could turn on friendly fire, kill you, and try to just harass you. But that's what's nice. I love that you're leveling up your character, and it's not so much focused on the world that you're in.
I did like that a lot.
Yeah, it was great.
No, I didn't play cross servers. I just played my own solo one, so I didn't realize that. Well, you had told me that it carries over, I guess, and I do think that that's cool. But I'm in the same boat. I was just like, okay, well, even if I'm not really knowing what I'm doing, I'm leveling up my running by just running around, or I just start jumping for no reason. I actually took a clip of it, and I think I'll post it to our Twitter. It was after one of my spawn-ins. I'm at my house. I come out and I come sprinting out of the house, and I'm just like, hey, it's a good day to be alive. And I jumped as I'm running down a hill, so I flew further than I thought I would. Square on a rock that was hidden behind a bunch of trees. So I thought I was just jumping into the bushes to have a great day, and dead. Just dead right then and there from hitting a rock. I had a good laugh at it, because whatever. Because actually, too, one of the things that I liked is sometimes with this type of game, if you die and your body drops and you don't have a chance to pick it up or whatever, you die again and your body's gone. You just lost all of your stuff for good.
Oh, really?
No, this one doesn't. Valheim doesn't.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying is that some games do that, whereas Valheim, if you don't get a chance to get back to your body, it just marks it, and you can, well, if you're like me and you have 30 different death markers around the game, then it's going to be hard to figure out which one it is.
I have way too many on my map.
But I do like that it tells you what day it is, so at least you can determine okay, it's certainly not a day 1, but which day 17 death is it? Now I have to figure that out.
I like too that you can use the environment to help you with enemies. I killed a bad guy with a tree. Because a lot of times when I chop down the trees, they'll knock others down. Sometimes they might hit you. But there was one time that I was just like, I'm going to see if I can hit him. And it worked. And it was lovely. I also think, too, with this game, Andrew just made a teleporter. And I think that's going to be a game changer. Because the map is actually pretty big.
Yeah, it's very big.
And I feel like there's just a lot of back and forth. Especially if you're I need copper, I need tin, whatever. And so I think that having multiple you can have multiple, I assume.
Yes, you can.
So I think that's going to really make the game more fun too.
Yeah, what's cool about the teleporters, you give the teleporter a name. And so that's how you link teleporters. So I named a teleporter Copper, and I have to create a second teleporter and name it Copper. And there you go. Now I have a teleporter to that location.
Yeah, but you said that it can't bring copper, though. It can bring anything but copper. For some reason, it will bring anything but copper. So I'm wondering if that's actually a bug that all portals can't bring copper. Did you make one, Keith? A teleporter?
I didn't get to portals yet, so that's part of where I can't really offer much input on that. But I do like that teleporters are a thing, and it goes back to where I don't know. I keep saying this about Valheim is I just don't want to really play it in the state of it because there's too much bare bones to it, and I think the framework is so good. I want to see what it's really gonna get to because of like the points that Andrew was saying too earlier about how it's really so much more on the RPG focus rather than the builder aspect of it. And then like on top of that, I think it's also very combat focused. So I think that I don't know, it could turn into something really fun, but as it stands right now, I'm kind of tired of running back and forth and just feeling like I'm doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I was feeling that way a little bit, and then with the teleporter, now I'm getting excited again.
I can see
But
that.
I also think too with, because obviously this is in preview, that's the word. Obviously this is in preview. So at first I was like, well, that's kind of a bummer because I'm going to want to replay it for achievements and then I'd have to like probably start over with my base and everything. But then I was thinking, Andrew and I did that with Grounded a ton. We went back to that game a bunch. So it's kind of like daunting thinking about that now, but I think I'll actually enjoy going back to it and starting my base over, especially because Andrew pointed out it's going to be a lot quicker to build and everything now that we kind of know what we're doing.
And the fact that you can bring your character over that's leveled up makes it quicker.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. And that's what I was going to say too, is that the fact that you guys already really had it all fleshed out on, okay, this is what we need to focus on, where you might have spent 2 hours trying to do something your first time around that was just kind of an empty road for you. Now you don't need to do that. One of the things I wanted to ask you though, Andrew, about the teleporter then is like, can you rename them multiple times, or is it once it's named that way?
I think once it's named, it's named.
And that makes sense because I was wondering.
I didn't try.
Because you could like almost create like a central location, like your base basically, and then just rename it every time to the teleporter, like rename it to copper and then have one that's tin and rename it to tin so that you can go to tin.
Well, you should be able to rename it if you disassemble it and then rebuild it.
Oh, I guess
because
that's
whenever
true
you disassemble something, you get 100% refund.
That's a good point. So I guess you could do that. It feels like a little bit of a janky way to do it, but yeah, I guess that kind of works. But otherwise, yeah, I was going to say you just have your central one that you just keep renaming.
But you just need to keep creating just new portals, which it wasn't too expensive to make, but like you could come up with goofy names. Like when me and Liz played Grounded, we literally had, you just could create like pings, like actual like symbols. And me and Liz would always say, oh, it's diamond base, because we put a diamond on it. But like in Valheim, we could create a portal and call it Diamond.
Yeah.
Both me and Liz would instantly know, like, oh, it brings me to that base, even though there's no correlation as to what that base actually purpose is.
No,
but that's what I loved. Yeah. And like the game, just these simple mechanics that Valheim introduces is just so much fun. Like just naming the portals, and we didn't get to sailing. Like me and Liz only scratched the surface on sailing. But the sailing in this game was really fun.
Except
really
when there's
cool.
no wind.
Yeah, except when there's no wind or you're going against the wind, then you're kind of screwed. But I think you get bigger boats that you can actually kind of counter that.
I think I got a blueprint for a boat.
Yeah, the Carve.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's the one we had.
So I'm curious how the graphics were then out on the water. Just yes, if you don't mind. I guess I was going to transition.
It's no Sea of Thieves. I'm going to say that.
well, so there's that. But because one of the things that, while it wasn't like, wow, this is mind-blowing graphics, I thought one of the coolest visual experiences in the game, and I'm guessing you guys probably had at least one of them happen, is when there was a lightning storm or like a rainstorm. It, like the way that the lightning would light up the forest and like kind of not echo, because obviously light doesn't echo, but I think you know what I'm like, kind of what I'm saying, of like kind of reverberate around the forest. It was a really cool experience, and it almost had like, it wasn't scary, but it had like a horror type of feel to it, and I thought that was really cool.
The graphics of Valheim, I dug a lot because it's kind of low poly, but also isn't. The textures are kind of more low poly, but I love the art style of Valheim, because that was the thing too I completely forgot about until I was playing co-op with Liz and I looked at her screen and she was looking up at the sky, but you see the world tree above your character and like extending out throughout the world. And it's like, and that's like little details like that where it's like, oh yeah, like we're in Valheim, we're in kind of a purgatory of the Norse mythology. And I really like the graphics of Valheim.
I agree, but I felt like sometimes like my character looked a little like they make it so that you know if you're encumbered, if you're wet and things like that, but there's sometimes where like my character was hunched over and it just looked really awkward. And I also sometimes couldn't tell if I was wearing pants. I didn't realize you had to equip them, but I just if I don't look different enough that I noticed it. I think it's because everything's kind of like dark when you're looking at your character, and I never know if I'm clothed. I know it's like I do, but if I'm not paying attention, like if I die or something, I probably won't notice for 15 minutes.
Well, because you kind of
unobservant.
I was gonna say you naturally kind of think it's gonna auto equip it when you pick it back up, because that's sort of the natural flow of a lot of games. And again, hopefully a quality of life thing that will happen in future versions of the game. But overall, I thought I know what you're saying as far as the kind of low graphic look to your character, and when you got up close to things, but that's where I think kind of like what you were saying with the world tree is like the bigger world around you when you just look around it, because it actually has a pretty good what's like not pop in what's the right word, like when you can see things off in a distance and they're actually like there.
Field of view.
Yeah, like I don't know. I thought there.
But pop in's also a good explanation.
But yeah, like it gives you like a far distance. It's not just like, oh, this thing's 10 feet in front of you and then you start seeing the rocks. It's like I feel like you can see a big distance, and it has a good aspect to that. So overall, I thought the graphics were pretty good. There was nothing I would really change about them, because I don't think it needs to be 4K, top tier graphics, but it also doesn't need to be another Minecraft.
No, I absolutely love the art style and graphics of what Valheim's doing, because as Liz was saying earlier, the building, like things you can build, are crazy intricate. Like, that was my issue with like Minecraft. Everything is boxed in squares, and unless you have a very creative mind, like Liz is like learning how to create like furniture by using stairs and like some other different like pieces that you can use, and it looks like a couch. Like, I never would think of that thing, but in Valheim, everything has a very distinct shape and image of it that you know what you're building, but you can create some crazy intricate like Norse structures, and it looks awesome.
I agree. I really like the graphics, and I think like when you're running around and stuff, I mean, like you can get nitpicky. Like you said earlier, the water isn't fantastic, but overall, I did like it.
But getting into the music, though,
a little repetitive.
I'm very mixed about the music. I like it. So music constantly changes to where you are. So the meadows, the Black Forest, whether you're sailing, whether you're in the swamp area, like every sort of area has unique music, but it's one soundtrack, and it got very repetitive because obviously you spend a lot of time in the meadows, the starting area, and it's a nice jazzy kind of calm music. But hearing that soundtrack over and over and over and over again, and the intro music when you boot up the game is crazy loud, and it can be very awkward. I know, like, I definitely just took more points off of the intro music because it just kind of came up at an inopportune time. And it was just like, what is the soundtrack? Like, this is so loud. This is so blaring. So I like the soundtrack. They just need to maybe make some more tracks.
Please tell me you were sitting in a meeting at work. Like, I'm just going to pull
No. We just, like, booted it up. And, like, we were in the kitchen talking. And the soundtrack's like, brr, 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 and it's like, what is this?
I think I largely wrote off the music. I think because I think there was times I wasn't playing it without headphones, or without audio, but I don't know if I was paying a ton of attention to it, because I think the overall sounds otherwise are actually mostly pretty good, and that's what I was listening for, because I was like, I have to hunt deer, so I'm listening for deer. I'm listening for monsters coming after me and things like that. So I kind of didn't pay attention to the music, which also isn't a huge shock, I know.
If you're grumpy, like, I'm just gonna say, do you know what? I'm not gonna word like that. I'm just gonna be straight and honest. I was grumpy at one point, and that music was going, and I was not having it.
Yeah.
And it was turned down very quickly. I thought of like two other like little tiny things, like in another thing. But there's no achievement, so I figured I'd do it now.
Yes, thank you. That is one reason I didn't want to cover this game, because it's no achievements.
I know, because you're gonna have to go back.
Yeah.
But one of the things was I really wish that you could destroy outdated items that you no longer want. I was leaving them around, and then I'd accidentally pick them up, and Andrew's like, just throw them in the river, because like I was just like, I would leave them, be like, oh, I just remember not to walk in that area. But I feel like there should be a way to fully disassemble them. So I thought that was kind of silly. And then I think like that when it comes to the deer, it's not calibrated right. Maybe that's not the right word. Sometimes a deer will hear or see me a mile away. And other times I will just run full at it, face to face, and it won't see me. And I'll literally bump into it and I won't have any stamina, and it doesn't run away. And I wait for my stamina to go up, and I hit it.
Yeah, it's like a weird animation thing. Like if you like catch them at the right part of their animation of like eating, basically they'll just commit to that. But I found the same way, and to that point, that's where I ended up just taking the second approach for deer. I was like, well, if I'm just gonna have no luck sneaking up on them no matter what I do, I'm just gonna sprint at them full force every time, run by, and maybe like club them as they try to run past me. Got a couple that way. So
Yeah.
One of the things that we didn't talk about with the graphics, and I don't know that all of the bosses are like this, but the boss design was wicked cool. For all of like the kind of samey type of enemies that I was fighting, at least in the one main area I was in, I can't say it's that way the whole way through the game. But that boss, again, it was like an epic battle out of nowhere. I'm like, this is a cool, big looking boss. So I'm assuming they all kind of follow that one, because I half expected this one to be like, oh, it's the deer. It's just going to be like a normal deer, but it attacks you instead of running away. Yeah, it's bigger and it doesn't run away from you. But no, this thing was like, oh, geez, I'm screwed.
Yeah, it had like, crazy decorations and antlers. It's shooting lightning at you. I fully agree. But I mean, like, go back a little bit in the gameplay. This is one thing I think Valheim does so incredibly well. At the beginning, right at the beginning, it brings you to this area and it says, hey, you need to put trophies on each of these statues. Each of these statues represent a boss. Kill a boss, bring its statue here, bring its trophy here. Like, this is another thing that I feel like is so lacking in survival builder games. Like, even in Grounded, me and Liz played Grounded at least so many times during preview that at least we had an idea of what to do. And when the game finally came out, like, it gave you a bit more of a guidance. Ark gave you zero guidance. Well, not zero, but I felt like Ark was very hard to figure out what I was doing. In Valheim, it's very much front and center. Your goal, kill the bosses, bring your trophies here. That's what you're trying to do. And I loved that. But yeah, so this is, like Liz said, with the achievements, there's currently no achievements, which is very unfortunate because this is in preview. Hopefully they'll come out with them soon. That's usually, it's sad, but that's usually kind of my grounds of how I figured we should do a game, is because it has achievements. That means usually the developers are like, yeah, we're pretty close to being done. Here's the achievements. But I've at least heard from, not only from our listener to do this game, but I've at least seen online of people saying like how complete this game kind of felt. So that's why we decided to do this. But yeah, let's get into our final thoughts here. I'll start. Like I said, so we've covered a lot of survival builder games, Minecraft, Grounded, Ark. And to me, this is the first survival builder game where I truly actually felt like I did not care playing solo. Playing multiplayer obviously helps. Having more hands and more inventory people like to carry stuff obviously is a huge help. But I did not hate playing solo. I like a lot of other survival builders we do. When I'm solo and I'm going to a boss or big fight, to me, it felt like such a wall. Like, you need to have friends. You need to bring them with you, or you're just going to get stomped. But in Valheim, I did not care. The fact that everything is leveling up as I'm just walking, running, chopping wood, using a sword, everything's leveling up. And so that's how I felt. Is if I felt like this was too hard, cool, I'm going to level up my sword skill. Maybe I'll get stronger, and I can fight these guys by myself. And that's generally what I would do. in Valheim, if you told me this game was in game preview, I would not believe you. To me, we didn't cover a section of bugs because I encountered none. And I know the development of this game, like this game I think has been on Steam for over a year now. And I know the developers have been a little bit slow with updates because they're mostly focusing on bugs and stability. But I don't know about you guys. Did you guys find any bugs? Anything issues?
I didn't have anything major. I know you said the whole line of sight thing with the enemies, but I still contest that they're not fully programmed correctly. Whether or not I'd call it a bug, they are not in a good state. I don't think. I just the level of following that they do and the way that they operate doesn't seem natural to this style of game. But outside of that, no, I don't think I ran into any real bugs. Like no weird oh, I just ran into something and I died that I shouldn't have died from. So nothing comes to mind. There was one time I thought it was, but then I found out that there was a giant troll who chucked a rock at my head. But I found that when I came back, that's unrelated.
I didn't find any bugs. I did get stuck behind some stairs in like an old abandoned tower, and I was beating those stairs for the longest time. Like, I don't know what they were made of, but it wasn't anything that we'd encountered. I eventually got out, but it was rough. It was a long time.
Yeah. And so that's what I mean. Like, I feel like this game is so very stable to where it is. So I cannot wait. I pray that developer has please pick up the pace. I know this game has been selling like hotcakes on Steam, and so they've been able to hire a lot more staff. So I'm hoping they'll be able to get this game out of preview and get a finished product, because I cannot wait to revisit Valheim. I had so much fun. I thought the combat was a lot of fun. I felt like they could have done a little bit better with direction at the beginning of the game. I think the soundtrack could maybe be turned down a little bit, and I wish they'd add a little more soundtracks. But overall, Valheim is a ton of fun. And we didn't mention that for multiplayer, you can have up to 10 players.
You did.
So if you're one of the okay, so if you're one of the few people, unlike us, that actually have a lot of friends, this is fantastic to play with friends because it's pop in and pop out. I could not find anything online as to whether or not the game scales to whether there's more players. So I don't think like enemies get more health if there's more players, anything like that. But yeah, Valheim to me was a relaxing and fun time. I'm giving it a 90, and this is just in preview. I can't wait for this game to be out of preview.
Do you have the ability to run a dedicated server on it?
I think so.
It have to be like kind of.
But you would host.
Yeah, you'd have to. Like,
I think it's
keep it open type of thing.
I think so. Yeah.
That makes sense. I think that's how most things are, anyways.
I mean, we didn't mention it during our ARC episode, but there is a company. I think their name is Nostrato. There's an app you can download on the Xbox, and you can pay money, and they can host dedicated servers, at least on ARC. I wouldn't be surprised if they do Valheim as well.
Yeah. It's so weird because I don't know. I think I kind of just said mostly a lot of really good things about Valheim, and
and yet you gave it a pass.
But I go back to and I still stand behind it. It's really just in the current state, and I don't even largely disagree with you, Andrew, when you say that this feels like it's mostly a complete game. I think all of the elements of a complete game are there, but personally, I think that the quality of life in the game and all of the things that a survival game should have, the item sorting, the tutorial to kind of give you the rules of building, to just like all of those little things like that we talked about, of like, I don't know, the pacing and how you're kind of thrown at this big boss without knowing that you can do other things. And I don't think it's in a good overall state for where it needs to be. I think it needs to build more and take advantage of the Norse mythology. I think they need to really give these creatures personality. Like, give me I can't even think of the word now. Like a journal that, I can find out about who.
A bestiary.
Yeah, bestiary. Thank you. Give me a bestiary where I can learn about the Grey Dwarfs and the Greylings and all of these little things that are populating the world. But so for that to say, like, I would like to think that all that's going to be there, and I'm actually with you. I want to revisit this game, and I do look forward to it coming out. It's not like it's a pass, and I wish this was final so we didn't have to do it. I want to. I just don't really want to keep playing it. In a sense, it's almost like when I was playing the Diablo beta, except I had a ton of fun with that. But I just got to a certain point where I'm like, this is great, and I think the product is fine, but I just want the full thing in my hands with all of the features and everything that it's going to bring to me. That's when I want to sit and maybe put in 30, 40 hours into it. So it is a pass as a game preview, but just really because it's a preview, and I want it to be a full-fledged game. But I would still say that for a game preview in the state that it's in and its stability and all of those things, I would still give it a solid 80.
I think that I'm gonna give it. See, when Andrew said 90, I was like, oh, my score seems low. I think I'm gonna do 86. I was gonna do 85.
What were you originally gonna give it?
85.
You now raised it.
It was only.
Just be honest. I don't care.
No, because like the more I think about it, I mean, I don't know. Do you know what? I'm gonna stick with my original 85. 85.
Okay.
I'm right in between you guys, which is weird because I feel like with you guys, like Andrew, you loved it, and
Yeah.
Keith, I mean, like that's only a 10-point difference. That's wild to me. But yeah, I definitely liked it. I'm excited to play more. When it comes to like the bestiary thing that you're talking about, I feel like I never read those, to be honest. So don't care if they have that. But yeah, overall, I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like the beginning is honestly what needs the most improvement, and I'm not in the beginning anymore. So, but yeah.
So definitely check out Valheim, at least in my opinion. I think it's a ton of fun. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any game suggestions or you want to check us out, go to GamePassGrabBag.com. You'll find the links to all of our things. We love to hear from our listeners. So, if you want to shoot us an email at GamePassGrabBag@gmail.com. Love to hear other listener requests. Tell us what you think of Valheim or whatever. If you just want to talk to us, we just love to hear from you guys. I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird0152.
I have been Keith, and let's see, Pizza Dude. I think I largely like Valheim enough. You get a 7 this week.
I'm Liz Noob, gamertag come on, I'm Dean, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Liz Noob, Noob is EW, and we have a Game Pass Instagram, Game Pass Grab Bag.
I forgot about that.
That I need to put more stuff on, obviously.
I probably need to add that to our list of links because I forgot about that.
Our link tree.
I mean, I just said it last week, so
That's true. All right, but thank you all so much for joining us. We love you all, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye, guys.